8 saves, 0 goals. That's what a 40-year-old man with no club, no contract, and a day job fixing electrical wires did to one of the most talented teams on the planet. His name is Josimar Diaz. The world knows him as Vozinha. 3 weeks ago, almost nobody had heard of him. Today, he's shaken hands with Lionel Messi, made his country cry tears of joy, and became the most unlikely hero of the 2026 World Cup. This is his story. Cape Verde, a small island nation off the coast of West Africa. Population under 600,000. Never in football's biggest tournaments, until now. Josimar Diaz grew up here in the town of Mindelo, dreaming of being a goalkeeper. But dreams don't pay bills. So while other kids his age were training in academies across Europe, Josimar was climbing ladders and running electrical wire through people's homes. On the side, he taught volleyball to make extra income. He wasn't spotted by a scout. He wasn't fast-tracked through a youth system. At 25, an age when most professional careers are already peaking, he finally signed his first contract. From there, he bounced through leagues that barely make international headlines. Angola, Moldova, Cyprus, Portugal's lower divisions. By the time the 2026 World Cup cycle began, Vozinha was 40 years old, without a club, and worth about 50,000 euros on the transfer market. For context, that's less than what some top players spend on a watch. And then, something almost impossible happened. Cape Verde's federation needed a goalkeeper. Josimar applied. Not through an agent, not through a scout, through LinkedIn. Cape Verde qualified for their first ever World Cup. And there was Vozinha, 40 years old, standing between the posts for a nation that had never played on this stage before. Their opening match? Spain. A team stacked with some of the brightest young talent in world football. Lamine Yamal, Pedri, players worth hundreds of millions combined. Nobody gave Cape Verde a chance. For 90 minutes, Vozinha turned into a wall. Save after save. Shots that should have been goals were pushed away, punched clear, caught at full stretch. By the final whistle, he'd made 8 critical stops and helped secure a result nobody saw coming. He was named player of the match, and when the whistle blew, he collapsed to the ground and cried. Not for the cameras, not for the followers piling in by the thousand. He cried thinking about his grandparents, the people who raised him and never got to see this moment. Before that match, Vozinha had around 50,000 followers on Instagram. Within days, he passed 18 million. More than Manuel Neuer, more than Gianluigi Buffon. A part-time electrician from a nation of under 600,000 people had become more followed than 2 of the greatest goalkeepers in history. But the story that really moved people wasn't about football. It was about his mother. Ana Candida Evora had been denied a tourist visa to travel to the United States and watch her son play at the World Cup, the moment of his life. The reason was painfully ordinary. She couldn't prove enough financial stability to qualify. When this got out, it spread everywhere. Millions of people online, fans, journalists, strangers who had never heard of Cape Verde a week earlier, pushed the story until it reached the US State Department itself. Under that pressure, her visa was fast-tracked. She made it to the tournament in time to see her son, the boy she helped raise, the one who everyone still affectionately calls Abuelito, a nickname he's carried with pride since childhood, play on the biggest stage in football. Then came the round of 16. Cape Verde against Argentina, against Lionel Messi. For most players, this would be intimidating. For Vozinha, it was the matchup of his dreams. His childhood idol standing right in front of him. Twice Messi found space. Twice he unleashed shots that looked destined for the net. Twice Vozinha got there first, full stretch, hand changed at the last second. Both times he denied the greatest player of his generation. Cape Verde eventually fell. An agonizing own goal in extra time sealed it for Argentina. But when the final whistle blew, it didn't feel like a loss. Vozinha stood on the field, tears streaming down his face, having given everything he had. And then Messi walked over. Not for a photo, not for the cameras, for a real embrace. Genuine respect, from one goalkeeper's biggest challenge to the man who almost stopped him twice. Cape Verde went home. But Vozinha didn't just leave with a World Cup story. He left as a symbol symbol that the path to greatness doesn't have to look like anyone else's, that there's no expiration date on a dream, that sometimes the guy who spent his nights learning technique from free videos online, who worked with his hands to pay the bills, who got his shot through a job posting instead of a scouting report, sometimes that guy ends up standing across from Lionel Messi and holds his ground. Vozinha didn't win the World Cup, but for millions of people who watched a 40-year-old electrician deny the best player alive, twice, he became something bigger than a result. He became proof that it's never too late. If this story moved you even a little, hit subscribe. We cover stories like this every week, the ones that remind you why football matters beyond the scoreline. Drop a comment. What's the most unbelievable underdog moment you've ever seen in football? And if you know someone who needs to hear a story like this today, send it their way. Thanks for watching.